Well, tonight this is a little different than what Low Power normally does. This is a political rally. We're here because we have been neglected and left out of a process, even though we are contributing the most amount of spectrum to the auction. But before we get into all of that, we want to be respectful of our guests from the FCC. We have Media Bureau Chief William Lake, Video Division Chief Barbara Kreisman, and I would like to give them a round of applause because no matter how we feel about the auction, they do help us a great deal in our businesses, and we really do appreciate them being here this evening.
Thanks, Mike. And though we may not agree on everything, we really do enjoy the dialogue with you and hope to keep it up. I think the most important thing I can say to this group at the outset is that the Commission is very aware of the important public services the low power and TV translator stations provide in bringing information and entertainment to consumers and businesses, often in very rural communities. Your stations are a source of diverse and sometimes very local programming. You serve rural and highly remote locations, and in many instances, you provide the only network and PBS programming to viewers who otherwise could not receive it. I hope that we've demonstrated to you that we do want to do what we can to minimize the impact of the upcoming incentive auction on the ability of your viewers to continue to receive the programming that you provide to them today. At the same time, it is important to recognize what is possible and what is not. I think it was Reinhold Niebuhr who authored what is sometimes called the Serenity Prayer. Lord, please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In this instance, the things that cannot be changed include the secondary status of your stations with respect to interference protection, and the decisions by Congress not to include you as participants in the incentive auction, or to protect your stations in the subsequent repacking of the broadcast band, or to pay your expenses if you are displaced to a new channel. In your advocacy to the Commission, I think you are best served by recognizing the things that cannot be changed. That said, there are things we can do, and with your help, we are trying to focus on those. In our incentive auction order, we made clear that low power and TV translator stations whose channels are redirected to flexible wireless use will be allowed to stay on their existing channels after the auction until they receive 120 days notice that the buyer of the spectrum is ready to start operations. In many rural areas, that period may extend for years. We also said that after the auction, we will provide a special window for displaced low power and TV translator stations to apply for displacement channels. As you know, in October of last year, we started a proceeding to explore what additional steps we might take to help low power and TV translator stations to continue to serve their communities. We had heard the concern about the risk that stations might have to do a double build if they were required to finish converting to digital transmission by the September deadline, and then to build again on a displacement channel after the auction. In our notice of proposed rulemaking, we proposed to extend the September deadline. And now, because the deadline is approaching, the Media Bureau plans to suspend the deadline until the Commission acts on a new timetable. As a reminder, these moves do not affect the transition schedule for Class A stations, which remain subject to the September deadline. And they must finish construction by May 29 if they want their digital contours to be protected. We also propose to allow low power and TV translator stations to channel share. If the Commission adopts this proposal, It will allow stations to enlist the power of multicasting, made possible by digital transmission, to address any shortage of frequencies after the auction. Sharing a facility may also reduce operating and maintenance costs for licensees whose pockets are not deep. We expect that channel sharing will be voluntary, as it is for full power stations. The Commission has no wish to get into arranging forced marriages. We've welcomed your input on the details of how channel sharing should work. This is a good example of how you can help us to change the things that can be changed and to make sure that we get the changes right. We're also exploring what help we can give to displaced stations in finding displacement channels. We're developing software that will help us to find the optimal set of channel assignments for full power and Class A stations after the auction. We're looking into whether we can use the same or similar software to generate an optimal set of displacement channels for low power and TV translator stations after the repack. As you know, traditionally, it has been up to an individual low power station to find a new channel if it's displaced. In our notice, we invited suggestions about other things we might do to make the post-auction world better for low power and TV translator stations. We got quite a few suggestions, and we're considering them all. Various types of stations, such as public stations or those who do local programming, have proposed that they be given priority over others in the displacement process. A number of stations have urged that they be allowed to use different technical standards or network architectures, such as single-frequency networks. We're aware, of course, of the work that's being done to develop a new standard for TV transmission, which would affect full powers as well as low-power stations. One attraction of a possible new standard would be increased spectral efficiency, including the ability to deploy single-frequency networks. We've been asked to find a path for low-power and TV translator stations to achieve primary status, a proposal that raises complex policy and legal issues. We hope to bring this proceeding to an order this summer. We appreciate the input we've received from you so far, and we look forward to continuing to work with you to protect the interests of your viewers, again, within the range of the possible. I might mention two other proceedings that are likely to be of interest to you. First, we need to put flesh on the bones of what it means for a wireless carrier to commence operations on a channel you may be using. A notice has just gone out calling for comment, and we look forward to hearing from you. Second, the Commission has said that it will try to preserve one vacant channel in each market for use by unlicensed devices. The Chairman has circulated a proposal on how to do this. When a proposal is released by the Commission, I expect you'll want to take a look at it. Thanks, and again, I'm happy to be with you, and I enjoyed meeting a number of you beforehand, and I look forward to chatting with you a bit as I leave. Thank you very much.